Oh, hello there. Come right on in. Might you be my 8 p.m.? Excellent. I trust you didn't have too much trouble finding your way here. That rain is quite relentless, and in the dark it can be a real challenge to find this place, but you're right on time. I appreciate you being willing to meet me at such a comparatively late hour. It is a bit unusual, I know, but I find this kind of work is well suited to the evening hours. It suits me, too. The dark and the quiet. The distance from the daily hustle and bustle. I'm afraid I've become more or less nocturnal over the years. You have cleared your schedule for the evening, yes? Nowhere to be directly afterwards? No big plans waiting for you? Good. That's very good. There's no real way to predict how long this will take, and it's important not to rush things. You now have my complete and undivided attention, and I am very grateful that you've chosen to give me yours. So please, settle in, relax and make yourself comfortable. You are welcome to sit on the couch behind you. I've kept the room rather dim, you might have noticed, with candlelight as its only illumination. This is by design. Every color, every fabric, every texture of this room has been chosen for its ability to exude comfort and safety, to please without overwhelming, to soothe. Comfortable? Good. Allow me to pour you some tea. How does it smell? Not too medicinal, I hope? It's my own blend. Oh, just a bit of this and that. Celestris, chamomile, skullcap, mugwort, blue lotus, and a touch of honey for flavor. Did you happen to notice the glass-paned greenhouse on your way in? My personal herb garden is inside. I grow everything right here. I find the process of tending and cultivating very rewarding. Please, have a sip. Tell me what you think. Well, you're not grimacing, so it must not be too bad. Now, you saw the listing. You know this is an experimental treatment. Tell me what else you know. Yes, the call for applicants was somewhat vague by design. I wanted to avoid participants coming here with too many preconceived notions. For me to administer treatment effectively, your mind and body need to be as open and relaxed as possible. Well, yes, it did, didn't it? The call for volunteers did specifically request participants who have trouble being open and relaxed. I assume that struck a nerve with you? Of course it did. Why else would you have come? Now, before we begin, I need to conduct a simple assessment to gauge your suitability for this treatment. It's quite simple and non-invasive. You may stay seated. I will need to be close enough to you to interact with and assess your energy field. Is that all right? Good. All right. So, my hands won't touch you, but you might feel some warmth from where they pass close to your skin. I'm going to start here, hovering just over the top of your head, just an inch from your scalp. Interesting. Alright, now I'm just hovering my hands above your forehead, just sensing the pliability, the resistance of your unique energetic structure. I'm only putting the faintest bit of pressure on it, knocking on the front door of your mind, so to speak. You shouldn't feel much from this, except save for a mild tingling sensation. Down over your ears, down your neck, then shoulders. Oh, how curious. Down your upper arms, then your forearms. Going to try and pull it a bit here. See if I can... Alright. Perhaps not out of the wrists, the palms, and the fingers, all the way out the tips. Then back up over your chest, your sternum, your stomach, down across your pelvis, just getting your energy accustomed to me, showing it that I am here to help, that I am no threat to you. Good, very good. Down your hips, your thighs, across your knees, down your calves, through your ankles, and down to your feet, out through the tip of your toes. Good. Very, very interesting. No, I'm afraid not interesting in a good way. Not for you. I've seen some defensive barriers in my time, believe me, but yours is something else entirely. It's woven from such tight interlocking bands of energy, and it's practically rigid, like a suit of plate armor. A healthy barrier, for comparison, should feel fluid and flexible, moving freely with the body and shifting in porosity and hue, in response to the emotions you experience. It should be somewhat permeable, but stable, and kind of springy when I press against it. As I'm doing now, just over the center of your chest, it should give slightly and spring back into place. Yours barely moves at all, and it's so locked down, so expression adverse. One might begin to wonder whether you're feeling anything under there at all. But you are, aren't you? That's why you're here. The disconnect. My call for applicants spoke to you for a reason. You have spent too much of your life locked away, pushed down, subdued and compressed until you barely have any access to your own innermost self anymore. You're out of touch with yourself. The most virtual and vibrant part of you keeps eluding your grasp, doesn't it? Save for in those most private of moments, the stolen pieces of safety you manage to carve out of yourself. You want to let go, to let it out, but you just can't. You can't untense, can't relax. You don't remember how. I'm sorry. Was that too abrupt? Please don't be embarrassed. After examining you, I am certain that you are a perfect candidate for this treatment. I must admit, I am excited. All right, let's begin. First, let me see your face. I just need to check. Oh my, look at those eyes. I can see the tea is having an effect on you already. Shh, it's all right. Your limbs are likely to start feeling very heavy, yes. Allow them to sink back into the fabric of the couch. Relax. Your control over your body is fading rapidly. Fighting it won't help. There is truly nothing you can do. Try to find some peace in that. Breathe it in deep. Breathe everything around you deeply. Is that a flicker of fear I see across your face? It's perfectly fine. It's understandable. Giving up control can be frightening indeed. It's alright. You need this. You've needed this for a long time. I'm simply going to sit here next to you. Place this cushion on my lap and ease you down to rest your head upon it. There you are. I know it's unconventional, but I find this treatment most effective. When I'm able to have skin-to-skin contact, you can't move, but your sense of touch is working just fine. So here and there you may notice the light pressure of my fingertips moving across your scalp. The areas I touch will correspond with the portion of your brain I need to access in order to administer the treatment. It'll probably just feel a bit like I'm playing with your hair, giving you a light scalp massage. I expect it will feel rather nice. Oh dear, are those tears I see welling up in your eyes? Well, that's perfectly fine. You can cry as much as you need to. Such release is good from the body and the mind. You can let it out. It certainly won't discourage me. Excellent. Now we can get to work. Breathe. Relax. Soften. Unfurl for me. Breathe. Good, very good. Earlier, when I was inspecting your energy barrier, I was also attuning myself to it in such a way that I can now access and manipulate it somewhat. It's a particular skill of mine that I've worked very hard to cultivate. Although, I must say your barrier is particularly troublesome to interact with, as closed and protective as it is around your being. It's just fine. Oh, I do so love a challenge. All I need to do is find a place where all this pressure, this rigidity... Come now. I know there must be one somewhere. Ah, there it is. So fine, so faint, that any eye less trained than mine would have certainly missed it. A fissure, a crack in the wall you've erected around your psyche. For me, a way in. This will likely feel strange, as familiar as you might think you are with the inner workings of your mind. I think you might be surprised by how unfamiliar a landscape it forms when forced to materialize into a representation of itself in response to a stranger. Just remember, this is your world we're exploring, your inner landscape. I bring nothing with me but myself and my tools. I am merely a visitor. Take a nice, full, deep breath, just like that. Good. Now, as you exhale, 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 I'm just going to slip right in. Interesting. I never know what to expect when first entering a mind, but I can tell you that it wasn't this wasteland. A grey pale sky, thick with an even blanket of low-hanging clouds. The air is cool and dry and smells of dust and stone. The ground is nearly the very same shade of grey dry and cracked and flat, stretching off endlessly to the horizon in any direction I look. I see that there are plants here, what's left of them. Low, brittle, twisted things that seem to claw their way up from the earth, stunted in life, no better in death. Pale trees, too, leafless and gnarled, squat and septical. Dry as a bone, there's no nourishment here, no moisture, nothing green. There are buildings, too, the bones of what were once buildings at least, built from grey stone, cracked and crumbled and neglected, a place people might have lived once, but not for a long, long time. There are no footsteps in this fine grey dust that's settled over everything. None but my own. Even those are wiped clear, the moment the wind blows, erasing my passing as I walk. Through and around those silent ruins, through these spaces that were once roads, perhaps through these stones that were once homes. Nothing lives here. This place whispers to me on that empty wind. This world cannot sustain life. But it did once, didn't it? I understand what this is, this lifeless borderland. This space exists to insult you, to turn away your visitors by signaling that there is nothing for them here. Every bit of interest and personality carefully scraped clean and left bare for the ravages of time and neglect. A place entirely devoid of what is soft and vulnerable. I have nothing for you, this place tells me. There is nothing to me at all. But I know better. I know that you have hidden yourself away. But I'm going to find you. No matter how still and small and silent you make yourself, I will draw you out. There is nowhere you can hide. I cannot find you. I just need to find a way forward. And there is always a way forward. Here, a passing through a half-collapsed archway of stone, into this desolate little square of dried and long-dead plants, pale and withered, and so brittle that they dissolve at the slightest touch. This was a garden once, wasn't it? That crumbling circle in the middle looks like it must have been a fountain, and this statue in the center, cracked and worn as it may be, it still carries your likeness well. From where did the water flow when this place was green? Your carven, downcast eyes. Or maybe from here, these lips frozen in stone. Traces of mineral flow and sediment remain. I can feel their texture beneath my fingertips. I know there is more to you than this. I can sense a hint of what remains. The barest twitch of your weary smile. A pulse of anger in the set of your jaw. In the curl of your fingers, into the meat of your palms, something fierce and bright that flickers ever so brightly behind the shaded light of your eyes. Do those sound like the observation of someone who has known you for longer than the time that has passed since you arrived here? Well, let's just say that I'm very dedicated to my patients. That includes doing the proper research to secure a successful session. Let's leave it at that. Here, if I swept aside this dead foliage, this dust, this garden long abandoned, there it is. Something green. A little shoot, palest green and malnourished, but concealing a delicate strength. I only dare to touch it with the utmost care and gentleness. It is velvet soft and small underneath my hands. You have been healing then, slowly, painfully slowly. This vital part of you has been tucked away beneath all this disinterested death, nurtured by the discarded husks of every way you've protected yourself until now. That's good. But it's not enough. Allow me to assist. There. A few drops of my life's blood scattered upon the soil where this little life struggles toward the absent sun. Isn't it striking? The rich crimson against the pallid earth. Drink deep, little one. I know you must be thirsty. Swell and surge. It is only a small taste, but it will awaken in you a hunger that's been dormant for far too long. Remember what it is to grow, to reach, to yearn, to act upon the yearning, to expose something fragile and trust that it will be well cared for. You see, even the little sprout begins to unfurl. Good, very good. What's this? You've introduced something new. The fountain. It was bare and dry when I arrived. Now it glimmers with streaks of some dark liquid. The statue. Its cracks are brimming and overflowing into the basin below, pouring forth like blood from innumerable lactations. Too thick, too opaque to be water, and black as the dead of night. The way it churns and burbles and coats all that it touches. Do you mean for this to frighten me? This ichor that bubbles forth from your stone effigy, you mean for it to be a warning, don't you? A sign of something darker lurking beneath the crust of all this borderland. Something far less benign than an empty wasteland. Beware, you signal. Something wretched lies beneath. Something you don't want to see. But I do. I do want to see. I am not afraid. And I am not turning back. This dark liquid clings and sucks at my feet as I wade through it to the weeping, bleeding statue. I place my hands upon the stone, feel the shape of it, where it is cold and curved, and where it is jagged, where it is broken, and where it threatens to cut. These places are usually the same, a wound, wielded as a weapon. I don't mind how it stains me, how the blackness coats my skin. I welcome it. You're frozen in time and cannot come to me, cannot yield, so I will envelop you. Because here, cradling this stony effigy in my arms, I can feel the seam of your deepest wounds. I can explore the shape of it with my fingertips. Feel how the ichor bubbles up from within like a spring desperate to break free from this knotted locus of suffering at your core. It crashes at the boundaries of you, doesn't it? I sense the pressure pushing from the inside out. You will not be able to sustain this half-ruse state for long without breaking. So let us speed up the process, shall we? This blade, the one that I used to bleed myself, yes, I'm just going to take it and, as delicately as picking a lock, find the correct angle. Oh, I feel the way you tense against me. In the waking world on my lap, your fear is understandable. I've taken a blade, a tool of harm, the most fragile crack in your interior, the place that you are most vulnerable. Will it hurt, you wonder? Will I be in pain? The answer is yes. I never promised that I wouldn't hurt you. There will be pain. It'll be a good pain, like setting a bone, but pain nonetheless. You cannot stop it. You cannot fight it. All you need to do is relax and remember to breathe as I insert the blade deeply, deeply into this black-stained shell of yours. Yes, you can cry out. It's perfectly all right. Very good. Let it press into you. Let it penetrate your core. Feel the strangeness, the otherness, the newness in a place you have kept hidden for so long, and then let yourself shatter around it.